Good morning, everyone. Welcome to what in the world? Welcome to Coffee and Football presented by Vaughn Lane. For those listening, the reason I just stopped in my tracks is because Jerry pulled out a corn dog randomly and started eating it. So my apologies. That threw me for a loop because I was not expecting it. And if you're listening, you can't see Bobby. It obviously threw him for a loop as well. But tell us where you're checking in from this morning, what you're drinking. Get your questions in. We're going to get to those in a little bit. We got Will Matthews joining us. We're also 86 days away from kickoff. So tell us who your favorite number 86 is. We'll visit that in just a little bit. But why the corn dog before I even begin?
I mean, look at the hat. I mean, But by the way, if you think that was a bad sight, imagine being a Texas Tech and Spurs fan this morning and having to decide which coach you're going to defend, Joey McGuire or Mitch Johnson. Oh, wow, that's a bad thing to wake up to.
Oh, that was not pretty. Was it 29-point comeback for the Spurs?
Oh yeah,
or for the Knicks
ever in finals history.
Oh my goodness! That sight was as ugly as Jerry eating a corn dog. I can promise you that much. Hey, guys, a lot of stuff going on today. We are on commitment watch for a couple of different players. Actually, we'll talk about recruiting today. We're also going to talk about the portal, both for men's baseball and women's softball. Both are on tap. We're also going to talk about the schedule that just got released last night. For those unaware, the SEC filled out its remaining time slots. We'll look at those now, I guess. Look, the one that surprised everybody, I think, Jerry, is this one. Tennessee is a morning game instead of a night game in Knoxville. Is that a good thing for Texas, or do we know? I mean, that's interesting. Florida will be an early one in October in Austin. Ole Miss is a flex game. It could be afternoon or night. Mississippi State's going to be one of those 6 p.m. kicks, I bet, on ESPN2. And then Missouri is an early game, so Texas will not get Missouri and Columbia at night. LSU flex in the afternoon or night. Look, I mean, Texas has a chance here to end up with 2 additional night games that we thought. They are LSU and Ole Miss, and getting an automatic home night game against Mississippi State.
Yeah. The Tennessee, anytime you're playing in a really tough environment on the road, my personal opinion is you want to play the game early so the fans don't get lathered up all day. The home team fans don't get lathered up all day. I think Tennessee's an underrated place to have to play. I think them and Auburn and South Carolina are very underrated places to play. They may not get as much attention as some of the others, but I like for Texas that's an 11 a.m. game. Honestly, I at Tennessee at night, the first time you ever play there, I don't know. And the fans don't have all day to get lathered up. I like that. I think Texas will end up with 5 if they win, if they handle business on 9-12. I think they'll end up with 5 night games this year, which is amazing for the fan base. Amazing.
Yes, absolutely. A couple of those at home, obviously, as well. So should be a lot of fun. This is a good schedule. It's a tough schedule. I mean, there is no two ways about it. We've talked about it previously. Texas is going to have to work its way through some difficult times. They do finish, and I want to mention this. Not much has been brought up about this. 3 of the final 4 are on the road, Jerry.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? 3 of the final 4 on the road.
Yeah, look, and that's why I've said I hate to put a must-win game early in the season, but Ohio State's as close as you're going to have, because if you just look at the schedule the rest of the way, it's what we've been talking about. It's a really difficult schedule. And by the way, there's a lot of really difficult schedules in a 9-game SEC. When I was watching that show yesterday, the announcement show, I was like, man, this is a really difficult leap because of the talent depth. But those 3 on the road at the end of the year, I think health of Texas team is going to be huge.
Hey, we talk about difficulty, living rent free. UT has the real truth of it. It's a very entertaining schedule.
Yes.
That's one thing about moving to the SEC that's been, I think we all would agree with. The entertainment level of and value of your season tickets as a Texas fan have doubled.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they literally have doubled, and that's not even including adding in someone like an Ohio State this year or a Michigan next year.
I mean, Bobby, when this schedule is when these schedules were being announced, it's all at the same time, the week by week schedule. I was just thinking, 1 week off this year for all these teams, not 2. And first year of a 9-game schedule in the SEC, I think health is going to be so important when we look back on who were the healthiest teams that last month of the season, because everybody's going to have used their week off. There's not going to be that second week off to get healthy. Who is going to have the healthiest teams in November? I think we'll look back on that and say that was actually really major in this conference race.
I like that they kept Oklahoma at 2:30 also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the 2:30 kick instead of the 11 o'clock kick in the Cotton Bowl. I just think it makes for a better lead up to that game. It gets better standing. I know that game has been back and forth through the years. Some people prefer the 11 o'clock, especially if you're trying to travel to and from Dallas. But I like the 2:30 kick in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah. And by the way, I love that LSU will be a night game. Let's be real, unless both teams aren't having the year that people expect. And I'm not sure people will care what time the game starts. But let's say it is a night game. That game is going to be unbelievable. For a Texas fans, if you've never experienced LSU before, and this is the first time you go to LSU, you'll be so lucky that your first experience is a night game there. It's amazing. It's an amazing environment. It really is.
Hey, we got a couple of follow-up questions for y'all regarding the schedule. Let's start here with Nathaniel. Nathaniel asks, is it bad to get LSU late, or would you rather play them early?
Early.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, I would rather play them early with all their new pieces. 60 new players? Is that right?
Yeah.
I would rather play them early. That being said, if things go off the rails in Tigerland, then that's about the time they would start to fall off, right? November. And so I feel like the way I would look at it, at least, Jerry and Blake, is that it could go either way. I mean, look, I think if I had to say right now, I'd want to play them early as opposed to late, but we all know football is a weird deal. I mean, what if, Jordan Seaton goes down and all of a sudden their quarterback goes down and everybody, they have a lot of pieces there that start going, getting banged up, et cetera. I think that's my inclination is early, but we don't have the real value, which is hindsight.
Yeah.
Once we know in December what it looks like, then we can really say, oh, well, it would have been better to play them early, but not right now.
Yeah. I think I'm on the early train there because, look, it's new system, new quarterback, new team, obviously new head coach, new offensive staff. There's so many things that Lane has to put together immediately. They play Clemson to start his first game's against Clemson with a totally new team, new staff, everything new in LSU. I don't care what we say about Clemson. They actually have program continuity going for them in that game. So I would rather play them early because I think anytime there's a new head coach and a total team turnover, you want to play them early. But the good thing about playing them late, if you're a Texas fan, is if LSU has 3 losses by the Texas game, they'll be throwing yoga mats at him from the stands. They'll be throwing yoga mats at Lane from the stands. Guaranteed in Tigerland there.
And one other one real quick from Yes OU Sucks. Can y'all talk about November, having Missouri and LSU on the road before Arkansas and then A&M on a Thursday?
It's on a Friday.
Friday, yeah.
And on a Friday, yeah. But that's what I just made mention of. 3 of the final 4. You have 4 true road games all season. 3 of the 4 come in the November timeframe, right? So, or late October, November. And so I feel like that could be a real test for Texas. At that point in the season, they should be battle tested, though, right? And ready to go to Columbia, Missouri. And I will say, going to Columbia, Missouri and playing an early game to get prepped for a late game in Baton Rouge is probably better than the opposite of that, where you still have the hungover effect of playing in Baton Rouge and then you go play in Missouri early.
Yeah.
So I look at it that way. I think that will be the deciding factor of this season, most likely. If Texas can just get through the first 7 games or 8 games with 1 or 2 losses or none, I think those will be the deciding games.
All right, Bobby, why don't you do us a favor and tell us about Vaughn Lane this morning?
We're talking about all these games. How about the smartest way to get to these games? The ones in Austin and in Dallas. All right, Longhorn fans in the Woodlands and North Houston, listen up. Vaughn Lane just launched a new route between Austin and the Woodlands, and you can book trips right now through October. That means football season is covered. No more white knuckling it down 290. No more fighting for parking. You ride in a first-class leather seat, connect to Starlink Wi-Fi, grab a cold drink, and show up at the game ready to go. But it's not just for game days. This route is perfect for business travelers heading to Austin for meetings, state government work, or the UT campus. And for folks in Austin, it's a straight shot to the Woodlands for concerts, family visits, or business in the area without dealing with Houston traffic. And here's what you're not paying for on Vaughn Lane: bag fees, seat assignments, or any of the nickel and dime nonsense. The airlines have cooked up. Everything is included: Wi-Fi, snacks, beverages, hot towel service, and complimentary meals on select departures. You board at a private hotel terminal with no TSA and no lines. It really is that easy. Vaughn Lane connects Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands, Nashville, Memphis, and Atlanta. Book at vaughnlane.com. Enter code OTF26 at checkout for $20 off your first ride. Vaughn Lane, your private jet on wheels. I will say, now that the times are available for you for the football schedule, make sure you check Vaughn Lane as an option to get to and from Austin on game day.
Hey, by the way, you know what was great for Vaughn Lane yesterday? When Schloss said his kids have used it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was good. That was good free advertising for Vaughn Lane.
Yeah, it was. I loved it. He's like, hey, my kids have used that.
Yeah.
He's cut that check before. You know, he's seen that show up on his credit card bill.
All right. Well, we talked about that schedule there for a little bit, and something that kind of ties into that. CBS guys, they came out with what they're predicting college football's most meaningful games in 2026. The Longhorns with 3 games on here. They did the top 15. Coming in at 14 is Texas and Texas A&M. Number 8, LSU at Texas. Number 7, Ohio State at Texas. And then number 1 is the SEC championship game. And the reasoning behind this is they feel like these are the games that will shape this season the most. Curious to get y'all's thoughts on that.
All right. I mean, look, I think that my initial take is, why LSU at Texas? Because it's actually Texas at LSU, by the way, on that graphic. But the thing that I would say is, isn't OU Texas a huge game this year? I mean, look, OU, they're coming off a college football playoff season. I mean, if Texas wins that game, OU's in trouble trying to get back to the playoffs. If Texas wins that game, Texas probably sitting in the catbird seat.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand how that's the case. And then I will say this, more so than Texas at Texas A&M. Like, I expect I expect OU to be a bigger issue in the 2026 season than I do A&M. Don't y'all? I mean, if you're ranking teams right now, are you ranking A&M over OU? I wouldn't. I mean, OU's got almost all of its defense returning. They should have a better run game. I know Mateer is, who he is.
He's better than Marcel Reed, though. Yeah, to the point.
Well, I think he's similar to Marcel. And so my thought, though, is that OU should be ahead of A&M in this most meaningful games list, at least.
Well, the problem with this graphic is, and I get where they're going, they're trying to include all as much as they can for teams, but to have BYU at Utah over a Texas-Oklahoma game or others, they're going to be more impactful. I mean, is that really going to be a meaningful game for the college football season? BYU at Utah? I don't think so. I just don't see that as an impactful game in college football compared to some others they could have could have chosen for sure. They're giving USC a lot of running here. We'll see. I would actually argue Ohio State and Texas may be number 2. And the reason I say that is the reason that game is so impactful is the loser of that game has 1 loss margin for error the rest of the season. And that is to start the season, essentially, week 2. I would actually argue, because of what that means for the losing team, the Ohio State-Indiana game, the Oregon-Ohio State game, that is much more meaningful for Ohio State if they lose to Texas. If Texas loses to Ohio State, I mean, you look at the rest of the schedule, you have 1 more game loss margin for error. I would actually argue Ohio State, Texas should be number 2 because of how meaningful that is to the loser.
I got to say this, Gary. Ohio, for as much flack as the Big Ten gets over some of its soft scheduling because they have some lower tier teams that maybe aren't at the level of their top tier teams, look at their schedule. I mean, not only do they play Texas early, they've got Indiana, defending national champs. They've got Oregon. They've got Michigan, and they've got USC. And then possibly the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah,
Ohio State will absolutely be battle tested this year. Like there have been times when they go into the Michigan game and they haven't really played much. That won't be the case this year.
No,
that is a tough schedule for a Big Ten team.
Mello, our resident Ohio State fan, which you really like, Mello was on here. Bobby, you were traveling that day, and he mentioned Ohio State's schedule. And I looked at it, and I think Rod was on that morning with us. And I looked at it and it said, Ohio State on their road schedule this year is brutal. At Texas, at Iowa, that's never an easy game for teams. I mean, look at Indiana last year. At Indiana, at USC, even at Nebraska. I mean, they have a tough road schedule. And then they still obviously have Oregon and the rivalry game with Michigan. That is a really tough road schedule. That's why I think Texas, Ohio State should be number 2 on here. Because the loser of that game, if you looked at the rest of their schedule, it's hard to say they go undefeated on the rest of their schedule, either team.
Is Oklahoma at Michigan really a big game? I mean, Michigan is a good team, but they were decimated. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's a bigger game than Texas OU. I'll put it that way. Or meaningful. Does anybody expect Michigan to make the college football playoff this year? Nobody.
No.
Yeah, nobody.
Not until somebody sees Bryce Underwood take a massive step as a quarterback. The personnel-wise, they're probably pretty good. They got as good a chance as any, but until Underwood really shows you something, I don't. Somebody asked where Tech is. They couldn't make the list. They're doing mental gymnastics in the media right now.
And to your point, Bobby, while y'all were talking, I put a poll up and asked the chat which game would be bigger this season. Texas versus Oklahoma got 59% of the votes, while A&M got the other 40%.
That's fair. I mean, look, they're both important. I want to say this. I mean, they're both important. Texas needs to win them both. If Texas did win them both, would that be 3 straight years of Texas beating OU, A&M, and Arkansas in the same year?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's Darryl. I'm not trying to invoke the name of the great Darryl Royal, but that literally would be Darryl Royal-like stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, true, because Mac Brown didn't really have that opportunity very often with Arkansas, but beating those 3 teams in 1 year, they've done it 2 years in a row. Sark and his staff in Texas, they do it 3 years in a row. That's pretty heady stuff.
Hey, by the way, on that, yes, and how cool is it in reality that Texas and Texas A&M have now have playoff implications both years that game's been played? But last year, I mean, A&M was in, obviously. Texas, with that win, positioned themselves to remain in the conversation. 2 years ago, major implications. That's pretty cool that this series comes back, a great rivalry, and it immediately is meaningful outside of just the fans hating each other. The game is actually very meaningful nowadays, and I think it's going to continue to be.
All right. We got a super chat here this morning from Terrence. He says, "Hey guys, do y'all agree Texas will be so deep that injuries will be no excuse except for Arch Manning?"
No.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I look, injuries, you just never know when they're going to come, where they're going to come from. If there's a spate of them, like the running back room 2 years ago. I still think that cost Texas a chance at the national championship. I really do. If a healthy Cedric Baxter in 24, I don't know. I feel like you just can never tell. What happens if 2 linebackers go down? What happens if 2 defensive tackles go down? And then you're playing a 7-game SEC, and that happens early in the season, and then you're trying to hold up your defensive front, with duct tape. No matter how good the guys are behind them, it is one of the things that Jerry mentioned just a minute ago is how much of a slog and wear and tear it's going to be playing 9 conference games. You just you would like to say there are no excuses, but we all know that things can pop up that you just don't. And that's why it's sport, you don't know what's going to happen. That's one of the reasons why to this day, college football and NFL and sports in general are so interesting to people because it's live. Like things happen in real time. It's like the ultimate reality TV, right? People see things actually happen that they don't know. It's not pre-recorded. Yeah. And so I'm not setting this up for Steve Sarkisian and his staff, however, to have excuses. Like they don't have excuses with this roster as it currently sits. They go down and they're starting Dia Bell in game 12, then let's be real.
No. Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. And I think Texas depth gives them that chance to sustain. Look, as long as we're not talking about Arch, Colin Simmons, Rasheem Biles, right? Who I think maybe even a Bo Masco. There's a few guys that you just absolutely can't afford to lose that go beyond Arch Manning. But one thing in any of these teams, the one thing is we've zeroed in on Texas and their talent. Nobody's watched the other teams in spring practice. So you don't know. Look, the talent gap may not be what it appears to be between other teams. But I think the one thing about injuries, if it hits a position hard, you're hosed no matter what. You can't if it's just like Missouri last year. That is horrible luck to have beyond a freshman quarterback, your third quarterback during the SEC conference. Otherwise, they win 10 games last year instead of 8. I mean, that is a huge difference. But if you had a rash of injuries at a position like Bobby said, I think it's tough to overcome. If you start having to play third teamers at a spot on an offensive line,
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about quarterback and a running back.
Well, and you're also talking about guys that are going to be first-round draft picks. They're playing games.
That's all right.
It's not like Texas is playing in the Big 12 where there's not, a third of the draft picks.
Like if you had a rash of injuries on the interior defensive line, that doesn't just get to a depth issue. That gets to a rotation issue. Like, do you have to play who's left more snaps, and then they wear down as the season moves along. And then
it may get to what kind of linebackers you can play. With.
Yeah. So the thing is, you can handle an injury. You can't handle injury at one position where you just have bad luck one year. I think any team's almost hosed at that point.
I still think living rent-free is right, though. Overall on this schedule stuff, very entertaining schedule.
Oh, it's amazing.
I think back to 5 years ago when Texas was still in the Big 12, and you get your season tickets and you're looking at your tickets and you're like, man, these are going to be hard to give away.
Yeah.
nobody wants to. I mean, does anybody really want to see Kansas come to town? Now, those ended up being entertaining games, for not so much for great reasons, but you get those tickets, you're like, oh, this doesn't look great. Now people get their season tickets in their mouth, like, whoa,
yeah,
it's a different animal.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I agree with living rent free above any and all this discussion about schedule. Very entertaining schedule.
Great. And I said for the Texas fans, the move to the SEC is amazing. I mean, think about last year, game was terrible, but you got to go to the Swamp. This year, you get to go to Tennessee
And
you get to go to LSU. Next year, you get to go to Ole Miss. I mean, it's more than likely.
Got to go to Georgia last year.
Got to go to Georgia.
I mean, these are the bastions of college football.
Yep. It's amazing. It's fun. Great for the fans.
Well, don't forget, we're going to have Will Matthews joining us here in just a little bit. He'll be talking, I guess, his thoughts on Texas Tech and more. So we'll have him join us. But, Jerry, I thought maybe we could talk a little recruiting as well this morning. A little defensive
what are we talking about? Somebody who's at Turks and Caicos?
Life is hard for Rudy.
He's not eating a corn dog this morning, Jerry. I guarantee you that.
Rudy, I got to be honest. I wouldn't be watching this show if I was in Turks and Caicos.
He's probably sipping some, was it Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee? That high-end coffee sitting over there overlooking the water.
As long as he's looking at the water and watching on his phone, I can handle it. But if he's just like in his hotel room or something watching the show, I don't know about that one.
I do believe he said that his work takes him out there like every couple of weeks. So he's there a lot. Yeah.
Wow, Blake, we're getting the shaft.
I know. What's up with that, Bobby?
Okay.
Time to run a camp in Turks and Caicos. We're looking for one player. One player.
All right. Defensive line recruiting, Jerry. What you got for us?
Yeah, so yesterday we had Tony Hills take a look at Kasey Curry, obviously. Well, let's say it on Marcus Fakato first. So two guys visited last weekend, Fakato and Curry. Fakato, we believe, is an Ohio State lean. He's still got visits scheduled to Oregon and Notre Dame. We believe that's an Ohio State lean over Texas. Curry, we've had all week, starting Monday when I put percentages out on Texas football, which was 69-70. We've had him as a big Texas lean since that visit. Texas, so Fakato is different because he's an edge slash D lineman. He's in that Lance Jackson mold. So he kind of is in a space of his own. Now, so we move past him. Curry, Turner, Shoemaker, Alexander Johnson, Raiden Cook. Raiden Cook's not going to happen. That 3 spots. Texas wants 3 interior guys early if they can get them. And obviously Jalen Brewster's on this list somewhere, but that's a longer shot. So Curry being a Texas lean, if that falls Texas way as it's trending, we had Tony Hills take a look at him yesterday for all you guys, and we've given our opinion on him. Then that would make 1. So does Texas get 2 more early out of this group? Mitchell Turner and Shoemaker are coming in this weekend, both from Mississippi. Turner from Louisville, Mississippi. Shoemaker's from Choctaw High and Ackerman, Mississippi, the Ole Miss commit. That's a 2-horse race. It's an Ole Miss commitment, and Texas is the team that has a chance to flip. Mitchell Turner's Alabama, LSU, Texas. I could see him making a decision in June sometime after this weekend because he will have seen his 3 favorites. So can Texas pull 2 more of those guys? Tyler Alexander will visit next week in the 19th through 21st. That's Georgia, Texas, top 2. He visited Georgia last week, and with Notre Dame getting an OV this weekend, you never want to underestimate Marcus Freeman. He's a problem in recruiting at Notre Dame. And he visited Colorado early, which made a sizable NIL offer. They may actually have the biggest NIL offer of the teams he's considering. Then you have maybe the other tier guy, Jason Johnson, who's scheduled to come in the 19th. Assuming he makes that visit. Vanderbilt, Houston, Cal, scheduled to be at LSU this weekend. So the question is, Bobby, can Texas get 3 guys from the interior D-line group early? If they can close out Curry here, it's a pretty heavy Texas lean, then that would be 1. Can they get 2 more of these guys to where they feel like, okay, we feel our need of 3 early. Then if we find a 4th we want late, we can go in that direction.
Yeah, I think, to kind of back into what Jerry's talking about with Kasai Curry, for example. Georgia and Texas were thought to be the leaders, but he has been scheduled to visit. Oregon this weekend. We are hearing that visit could be off, and that there might be a decision that is potentially imminent. If that is the case, it certainly bodes well for the University of Texas, considering he just came off his visit to UT.
Yeah.
So when we talk about Kasai Curry, that is someone that Jerry, if you go follow us on TexasFootball.com, has put a trending Texas kind of marker on him, and we think very heavily on that. Fakato is more Ohio State at this point, we believe, subsequent to his visit to Texas. Larry Johnson, the defensive line coach for Ohio State, has just done a good job there, and I think that's where most people believe it's headed. As far as the 2 young men from Mississippi, it's hard to know before they get here exactly how they're going to fill it out. Is Turner going to feel good about Texas after seeing Alabama, Ole Miss, Mississippi? I mean, he's been looking at teams in the deep South. Now he's going to come to Texas, which is a different style visit, a different style campus than those deep South campuses, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he likes it. But I agree with Jerry. If they can get 3, they'd be ecstatic. If they get 2 and it's one of the right 2, that's still pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And then they'll look to backfill later in the off season and try to find somebody that they like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or put money towards a portal. I mean, you got to remember the money comes all from the same stack.
And retention.
Yes, and retention. Absolutely.
If you get 2 guys and you really like them, you may move straight to retention after that. By the way, so before we bring in Will Matthews, on Mitchell Turner, a couple notes on him. He was on campus in April for an unofficial. Academics, I think, are a part of this recruitment. Will it be a deciding factor? I can't say if that's a deciding factor. His dad's a superintendent, played college football at Liberty. His mom's also, I believe, a teacher counselor in the state of Mississippi. On Shoemaker, he's been on campus once under the radar as well. And I think I think, look, it's hard to pull 2 guys like that out of Mississippi. It was hard to keep Corey Wells. He ended up at Auburn, obviously. It's hard to keep those guys in Mississippi committed if you get them early. I do think Texas has a puncher's chance at both of those guys. I wouldn't be mentioning them as much. I think Texas has a puncher's chance at those guys for sure.
All right. Well, before we do bring in Will, Jerry, I'm going to let you tell us this morning about Hayes City Store.
Yeah, yep. I bet Will Matthews has been to Hayes City Store. We'll ask him. There are very few restaurants that once you go to, you immediately know they're just special. Hayes City Store is one of those places. It's scratch-made Texas comfort food. They got their famous truck stop enchiladas, award-winning chicken fried steak, homemade desserts. All of it's absolutely delicious. All of it's from scratch. They have live music six nights a week with 50 beer taps, ice-cold long necks, and tasty margaritas. There are 13 TVs alone in their ice house, perfect for game days. That could be Texas baseball in the College World Series. That could be Spurs versus Knicks if you can keep your food down. They even have brunch served from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Sunday. Hayes City Store is dog friendly, and they have a tree net for kids. I don't know if that means Kirk Herbstreit's dog. I hope not. Join the folks at Hayes City Store and bring your whole crew. For more information, check out the website at HayesCityStoreTX.com. Hayes City Store, it's uniquely Texas. A great place to go watch Texas baseball this weekend. Live music, entertainment, great food.
All right, well, let's bring in Will. Good morning to you, Will.
What's up, guys? I feel like it's been forever. I don't even remember the last time I seen all of your pretty faces. Blake, good to see you, brother.
Look at you. What do you got, a golf course in your backyard there, Will?
Hey, sometimes you got to play some golf before it gets too hot.
Nice.
It is going to get hot. Hey, it's hot in Lubbock right now.
Yeah.
What are I want to bring on someone that played college sports is, we have Tony comes on, Stevie Lee comes on. We have guys from anywhere and everywhere. But my thought process here, first of all, the idea of gambling on your own team, is that as sacrosanct as we would make it out to be as media members? Because as a media member, it's a no. It's a non-starter. My question to you as a former player, is it that big a non-starter for you?
Yeah, it really is. That story is baffling, guys. I can't believe it. I was reading the Texas Tech AD's response to everything, and how he didn't come out in all of that he said. He didn't come out and say that gambling was wrong. And they haven't said that. And I've heard Jerry and Bobby, I've heard you and everybody just talk about how that's inexcusable and on your side of the fence. But on my side of the fence, there is something so vile to add that to a relationship. So the relationship in the locker room is pretty predicated on this guy's going to do his job. And when the chips are down and we are all in and it's the last couple of seconds and it's Vince Young against USC at the end of the game, he's not tripping on the 6-yard line. No, he's going in to score. And anytime that there is any sort of thing that doesn't go perfectly with this young man, everybody's going to say, is he betting on this? And it's a different thing when it could be one or a handful of times, but 9,000 times, $90,000. Like, and what can I tell my sons too? And the rhetoric come out of there is his mental health, and of course that's a huge component. I'm huge on that, but you wouldn't fight for an alcoholic to go work at a bar, would you?
No, I get it.
Enough said.
No, I get it. That's part of my piece on it too, and I think Jerry's as well. The question now becomes that Texas Tech threatening a lawsuit or to sue apparently other people if they take any action whatsoever against Sorsby's eligibility. The Big 12 has in its bylaws the ability to change its bylaws with, I think, 12 or more votes. What is the proper? What is if they're unwilling? They're unwilling to say no to Brendan Sorsby? We're dead set. He has to play. What's the proper penalty for Texas? Is it can't be a 3-game suspension of the head coach, because then the problem still remains. Yeah. The guy's still on the field. So what is the proper sanction or punishment? You have a few? I mean, I think it might be just say sayonara Texas Tech from the Big 12. I mean, what else is there?
And Bobby, I this is definitely the Wild West, and you guys know as well as I do. This is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. Anybody sniffed gambling on their sport as a whole, and especially on their own team, they've been gone from sports. People who may have deserved to have their names in the halls of justice at whatever sport that they were playing, they got nixed out, and for life. And so looking at those kind of penalties and how the things have gone so far and how much Texas Tech is fighting for this, it's baffling to me. I did like what Georgia said. We're not playing them at all in any sport. Some of the other schools who are coming out and saying that, but that's kind of lip service until the rubber meets the road. I don't know how to remedy this, but I think, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I'm sure you'll agree with this. Where's the coach at?
The coach is supporting his players.
Exactly.
Well, that's what
I'm saying.
Will, that's my biggest thing on this. That's my biggest thing on this is I've said it. I know Joey. I used to go to Cedar Hill all the time. And what he said yesterday, I mean, wow, he is getting – I hadn't seen a coach get smashed on social media like that in a while.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. But that's the thing to me. It's and I don't know if it's pressure from none of us will ever know, but that is just such a bad look from a head coach. because
really is.
that's never been okay.
Yep.
Well, I grew up in coaches' offices. It's never been okay. This has never been okay. And you mentioned, guys, even if people want to point to one scenario, Calvin Ridley with the Falcons, while he was on IR, so he wasn't playing, made 5-6 bets, right, on the Falcons. He got suspended for a year in the NFL, a full season. But to have a head coach come out and say, 2 games.
He must not have had a mental health issue.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what.
By the way, he was still betting when he got to Tech.
Yeah.
He was having friends and family make bets for him. What are we doing here from a coach perspective? What are we doing? What are we saying to our team and our future kids I'm recruiting in our future teams? Give me a break.
Will, when we talked to Marcus and Rod and those guys about this sort of like the nuance of the player and what you're talking about, not tripping on the 6-yard line, right?
Yeah.
You would think that with the eyeballs on him, there's going to be like increased scrutiny. And I just, the first time that young man throws an interception or fumbles when it looks kind of odd, I mean, that's why I think you can't do this.
Yeah.
That you can't bring into question the integrity of the game. No. Is that kind of the hill that you think people are dying on here?
Yeah, and Bobby, I feel like that's a reasonable hill to die on too. That's the one. That's it. And I kind of look at this, a couple years past. There is when I was talking to my son yesterday, we were talking about the best player I've ever played with was Vince Young and what he did for us in the huddle. When we were down in Oklahoma State, and I talk about this all the time, he walks out at a halftime and walks over to that huddle and he starts dancing and everybody starts dancing. And we knew at that moment that he was all in, right? Well, how does that moment won't happen with Sorsby? It just, when the chips are down, the guys are gonna want to take care of themselves and not give up their own wants for the team. And, and what do I tell my son? I'm like, hey, it's not okay to bet, but sometimes it is. Like, come on, man. We've got to do this not just for what Texas Tech is going to do, which has continually been incredibly off the wall, but for the kids who are coming up next in the game, and what is this painting for the future of our sport? And it's just degrading the foundation of it right there. And I hate to be so pointed with my words, but they got to be ashamed of themselves for this.
Hey, Will, that's a heck of a point about when a quarterback walks into the huddle, like what Vince did for the team. The first time things go bad, if Sorsby's playing for Tech, I know that these guys are getting paid a lot of money, but they're going to start blaming the coach. They're going to blame everybody. Because they came to Tech expecting to be on a really competitive team with college football folks. And now, look, they're paid well. But it's all great when you sign your NIL deal and you're going to a school. But if the thing starts breaking down, man, that team can just tear apart in no time. No time.
Yeah, you're right. It's a real powder keg there. And, Sorsby, of course, there's some things that he needs to deal with, and we've all got our bugbears, and we get that. Like, that is not the question here. But like looking for those other 100 or so kids who are on that team, who are looking for guidance from that coach, from Joey McGuire, who are looking for a business acumen from Cody Campbell, and look who's going to be holding the bag at the end of this. Like, it's going to be McGuire and Sorsby. Campbell's gonna be like, hey, this wasn't. I'm just the money here, I'm just doing my best for this school that I love. But Coach McGuire's really got to take a hard look in the mirror and look at his resume. I mean, what he has been able to do, and very respectable and well liked in the state, and it's got respect across the game. And every day that he doesn't walk out and potentially go against the grain there is the day that his legacy gets tainted. And so
100%.
Being out of the game for a while and looking at it, there's so much time that you spend out of the game looking back in, and you have to deal with those choices. We beat Michigan, and because of that, my life is different. Well, you don't want this kind of stain on you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Hey, Will, I've got to ask you this question as it relates to just Texas football. I want to segue into EP and what's going on in Austin right now. Texas had several new players join the roster here in early June, getting some initial reports on from them and what's going on there. This off season, June, July, it feels like as you're leading up to a big season or a potential big season, you were part of that team and what Texas did, right? And I know the famous comment about, hey, if you want to beat Ohio State, meet us on this field, yada, yada, you know. But behind, other than that, what were the things that y'all were thinking about individually and as a team during this lead up to a season that might be special? In other words, like it wasn't all just, hey, the words on the chalkboard. That kind of is the seminal moment or the unifying factor. But what was actually going on in y'all's brains, and maybe what you think the guys right now are thinking of similarly?
Yeah, so there's a lot of pressure right now for the guys to be great. And you can hear from a lot of the rhetoric of Coach Sark. He's super proud of the team and what they're doing. We've seen the pictures of the guys from summer workouts, around the country. It's great. The guys are getting out there and working with professional athletes and really understanding, learning the game. But what I would, as a guy who's been out of the game for a while, is there's a couple of things that these guys have got to have, and that will be the difference, especially as they're going to play nine beat you to death games there, is these guys have got to find a way to have a good time. They've got to find a way to enjoy the moment, realize how big the opportunity is, but not let that opportunity overshadow the work, the process. And I just remember, a lot of guys talked about this. I've heard some other guys, in these kinds of times, like Vince was calling scale with, and scale, for guys who don't know, is us just getting together and running through the plays on air with nobody there. He's calling that 3, 4, 5 times a week. We're together. We're going to the lake together. I mean, I've got pictures of me and Said Benson jumping off stuff around the city, going to music, but not missing a workout and being there and busting our butts. There's got to be this interesting dynamic of, I am enjoying the life that I have earned, but I'm also getting ready for the future. And it feels as if they're there. There's a lot more excitement. I mean, even the way Arch is communicating is different. It feels like he's given up that mantle of, I've got to be the whatever, but I'm going to play for my team. And, just with the guys going to New Orleans and all of the stuff that's going on, I really feel like they're doing that. But if you do not add that aspect of enjoying the process, week 7, 8, 9, and injuries are nagging, and you're still fighting for your starting position. You've got somebody behind you, and you've got your big game coming up, and you've got to make it happen. You got to rest on that team aspect and the process that you did in the summertime. And if the guys can do that, it's going to be a special season no matter what happens.
Hey, Will, I wanted to ask you, because you have such a unique position. You are on the sidelines in the SEC now for these games.
Yep.
Looking at the schedule at Tennessee, I mean, obviously, you see, this is what I'm saying. You got to go to Georgia, you got to go to Florida, and you get to do it from the sidelines. How cool has that been for you? And what kind of do you make of this schedule next year for Texas? Because we hadn't talked to you about that yet.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking the dynamics of being an athlete. When we played Michigan in that Rose Bowl, I played differently because I knew that I would never put on that Longhorn jersey ever again. I knew that was going to be the last statement, the exclamation point to an incredible career, and what we did, one of the most winning programs, groups to come through Texas. But as soon as the game was over, it was over for me. You don't get that college atmosphere in the pros. It's different, and it's inexplainable how different it is, but it's very, very different. There's a college itch and there's a college environment, and I think even when we're talking about Sorsby, we're trying to keep that as whole as we possibly can, and being able to be on the sideline, like as a fan of the game and former player, I am so excited. Tennessee, a friend of mine has said, if you hear that Foggy Mountain thing one more time, you're gonna flip out. It's one of those things, and it's something that's brand new, but so it feels like we know it. When you get out there, you know you're supposed to be in the SEC. We're combing through those iconic stadiums to get that atmosphere, and of course Texas is got to bring it every Saturday for this. But me as just the fan guy, I'm standing on the sidelines just like, I can't believe this, that I'm right here in the middle of the game inside of these memories. A colleague of mine at the bank sent me a picture of her son, said, yeah, he played for Michigan against Texas. Sent me a picture of it, and I sent her back. I circled, and I'm standing in the background like this. just because it's just such a special thing to be close to the guys and scratch this itch, as well as be a alumni of this incredible Longhorn community. It is so special, and they get to do it from the sidelines. As Jerry is second to none.
I got one suggestion for your season. Go to Schloss, get a Texas batting helmet, and wear it on the sidelines for the LA game.
Yes. The third base coach, that helmet. I was there for game 1 against Oregon. I was like, I got to talk to Schloss.
You need to wear that at LSU this year, I have a feeling.
That helmet is what's up. I wonder how to do in 110 degrees weather when you're walking.
Well,
it's worth it.
LSU's late in the season.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a night game too. So
yeah, exactly. What do you think about the Tennessee game being a day game as opposed to a night game? You think that helps Texas when they go on the road?
I really think it does. Mentally, what you're thinking about is you can actually get home at the end of that to recharge and get ready for the week. Some of the hardest parts about a night game is overcoming the momentum shifts and the energy of your opponent, but also the travel. When you get to a place and it's a night game, you're still up at 7, 8 in the morning, and you're going through walkthroughs and you're doing all this stuff and you're watching games and you're like, when am I going to play? And that anxiety starts to set in. When the game is at 11 or the game's in the middle of the afternoon, it's not about anxiety. It's not about anything. We came to do our business. We came to take what is not ours from this stadium, and we're going to get in and out. And so I think mentally that could be helpful. Especially, I mean, they've got a nice 4-game run right there with an off week right after that. And so I think it could be it's going to be a lot of energy. It's going to be a lot of focus, and Tennessee is going to bring it. They're going to bring it. They're going to be at home. That place is going to be white and yellow to whatever their gold thing is out, and it's going to be ready to go. And I do think that has a bit of an advantage. But in these kind of atmospheres, that afternoon game is going to be a beast as well.
Not quite going to Kansas.
No, or
no, we're not in Kansas anymore.
I ain't going to Manhattan
We're
no
in
more,
Baton
bro.
Rouge and Knoxville and Athens and places like that.
No more Manhattan, Kansas. Come on now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Will, thank you so much, buddy. I hope you have a good afternoon. Look at that beautiful background you got to enjoy there.
I hope you have a good round.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I look like I can play golf. I would say that that's the case.
you look like you can play golf. He's got the golf shirts. He does have that. Good for him.
All right. Well, we got some super chats that we need to jump back into. Juan Garza here, going back to recruiting. That's disappointing with Fakato. Well, there's no shame in losing recruits to Ohio State. They are a tier above us until we get to where Ohio State is, recruit to the whistle.
I don't think they're a tier above Texas in recruiting. They have won a national championship, certainly more reasonably. And I do think they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country year in, year out. So maybe a tier above, okay. But Texas has been in the Final Four 2 of the last 3 years.
And
Fakato, though, by the way, we're not saying Fakato is committed to Ohio State. We're saying he's leaning that way.
Yeah, things can change.
Yeah, things can. That's right. Jerry's right. Things can change.
But your last part of that one, recruit to the whistle. Remember how many guys, even if Texas loses out on a guy they really want, if Fakato ends up committing to Ohio State, we all know Texas will hang around the rim a little bit there. See what happens. You never know. Just like LSU will try to hang around the rim on Easton Roll because they ain't getting them right now.
What about John Meredith? Jerry, Big Poke wants to know, you got any news on him?
I think we remain the same on that. I think we continue to believe that's a Texas lean. A&M's making it a fight. You knew that was going to be – you knew there was a couple you could circle that would come down to A&M in Texas, and those are going to be battles. I still think Texas is the favorite there. I think they've been the favorite for a while. I think they were and then it's up to Texas to close that recruitment out. But I think that Texas makes a lot of sense for him. And I think I like where Texas sits, but you still got to close these recruitments out. Ohio State has to close out Fakato. Texas has to close out Meredith.
Look, I mean, and Meredith could make a decision any day, any moment. I believe today, though, we'll see. I mean, Jerry, my understanding, he has his UIL eligibility hearing today. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Whether or not he can move and actually play at North Crowley.
Yeah.
After being at Euless Trinity his first few years in high school.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on that a little bit.
He's got OTEs Nationals in Los Angeles this weekend. So there is not expected to be an official visit on the 19th. He's done with visits. It's going to be Texas or Texas A&M.
And then Rocky P says the worst part about this for Tech, they've essentially said that if he can't play, he won't get help from them. Real class acts at Tech.
Well, I don't know that they said that. Did they really say that?
No, they're saying this, like he's saying that's essentially like he's not. They didn't say that. I guess he's just saying that's.
I don't know. I haven't heard that part. So it's possible. I mean, geez, anything's possible these days. The question about Tech and their reaction to this. The word yesterday that they were trying to say, oh well, we didn't sue the NCAA. It was Brendan Sorsby, and he did it on his own. And no, but your president of your university came out for this. Your chair of the board of regents is supporting the result. So is your head coach. So is your athletic director. You're supporting and saying this is okay. That's the problem. You may not have been party to the suit, but you are supporting the result of it. And that's where I wrote yesterday. It's just a bridge too far.
And then we got one from UT Tyler Guy. What will be greater, Mississippi State wins or Texas losses? Mississippi State estimated wins is 4.5 for 2026. If we think Texas is that good, this shouldn't be close. Okay.
I hope Texas has more. I hope Texas has fewer losses than Mississippi State wins, right?
Yeah.
I mean, UT Tyler Guy. The only thing I say about Mississippi State, and it's not, it's hard to emotionally be up for Mississippi State. We saw it 2 years ago in Austin. Now, Quinn was hurt. Texas did not play well for a lot of that game. And what ended up being 38-13, but it didn't feel like that. Felt closer than that. Mississippi State controlled the game with the run. They had the ball a long time. The one thing I'll say is it's hard I think in the SEC, when you play the schedule you do, and Bobby Bowden, I think, once said it perfectly, you can emotionally get up for about 3 games. Then coach has to get you up for a couple more, right? But you're not going to – in the SEC schedule, Kentucky and Mississippi State, teams just aren't emotionally up for them in football. And it's not meant as a disrespect to those teams. It just is what it is. And so that is the one thing about Mississippi State is it's hard. It's going to be hard for Texas to be on an emotional high for that game. So they have a little less margin for error in the execution in that game. I think Texas is much more talented than Mississippi State at the end of the day.
We got another super chat here from Juan Garza. Cody Campbell is off the rails telling Georgia AD about Georgia players not getting arrested in the Penn State scandal and how teams still play Penn State.
Yeah. Penn State and Georgia have been somewhat reactive to things when they happen to them.
Yeah.
Not bowing their chest up and saying, no, we're going to handle it this way. I mean, Penn State fired its legendary head coach, removed his statue.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Cody Campbell goes on Pat McAfee and tells the world, no, they're wrong. I'm right.
Yeah.
At some point, the reaction, I mean, look, there is a real way to say we apologize. We were wrong. We need to make this right. Is Texas Tech saying that?
No.
Okay. So stop equivocating.
Well, look, and the other thing is,
Joey Maguire yesterday said, well, it's not murder. He didn't murder anyone. I mean, is that really what we're devolving into? Oh, he didn't murder anyone, so he must be eligible.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what has to happen for you to not play for Texas Tech?
No. Well, the mental health card, I think, is a hilarious one on this in this case. Because one, it's BS, but two,
no, I mean, mental health is a serious issue.
No, but here's where it's BS. Here's where it's BS. The best thing for his mental health will be going into the NFL supplemental draft and getting away from college sports and getting a fresh start, starting anew. Look at the position this has put him in. Look at the backlash. Look at what's going on with this decision and this ruling in Texas Tech's handling of this. Do y'all really in Lubbock think this is helping him? This isn't helping him. Helping him would have been saying it's best to go get a fresh start, go in the NFL supplemental draft. And if anybody's willing to take you, they're willing to take it, but go get a fresh start. This guy he's going to be under more scrutiny than Arch Manning this year. Think about that for a second. He's going to become the most hated college athlete right now. Is that really helping him? I would say y'all are full of you know what. That's what I would say.
I can't believe that was the poll quote yesterday from the Chicago Tribune. It's just unbelievable that Joey Maguire would go there. Look, you can't equivocate. Hey, we have some softball news. That was some good stuff, Blake, to mention from yesterday. That was a positive. Texas got a commitment from Samantha Swan, a local Georgetown product who played at Arizona State, was all Big 12 this past year. She's the one who hit the big home run in the Super Regionals against Texas. She is now committed to Texas as a grad transfer. She's graduated from Arizona State and now will enter grad school at Texas. Obviously, the Longhorn ladies losing Reese Atwood this offseason to the American the AUSL is the professional softball league the women are headed to these days. So they need a catcher. Samantha Swan, Georgetown product, possibly or has signed with Texas and is expected to possibly win that battle, if not at the very least compete for it. Again, a first team all Big 12 selection this past season.
And I don't think they're done. I would expect some more big-time visitors here soon.
Well, let me ask you this. Apparently, there's a young woman named Issa Torres. Is that
Florida State pitcher? Yep.
Shortstop, you mean?
Or shortstop. Excuse me.
Yeah, shortstop. Apparently, she's one of the top players in all of college softball, and she's potentially visiting Texas as well.
I expect her to visit Texas along with I'm going to butcher her last name. I was thinking Texas State pitcher, but Madison Azua, I think is how you say it. She's elite pitcher as well. Both of them I would expect to be on the 40 acres here pretty soon.
But not necessarily signing with Texas.
Yeah, just visiting. So we'll see what happens. But it wouldn't surprise me if maybe they grab one of the two. So if not 2 of the 2. We'll see what happens. Good stuff. Very interesting. All right. I tell you what, Bobby, why don't you tell everyone about Vaughn Lane one more time before we get to our last question or 2?
Yeah, absolutely. Vaughn Lane, if you're in the Woodlands or North Houston and you've ever driven to Austin for work, a meeting at the Capitol, or a weekend on campus, you know the drill. 3+ hours on 290 construction zones, and you show up drained before your day even starts. Vaughn Lane just launched a new route between Austin and the Woodlands that changes all of that. You sit back in a first-class leather seat, connect to Starlink, Wi-Fi, and arrive ready to go. And Longhorn football fans, now that the schedule is out, you can book game day trips right now through October, so get on it. For Austin folks, the Woodlands opens up easy access to concerts, family visits, and business in the area, all without battling that Houston traffic. Unlike the airlines, Vaughn Lane doesn't charge you extra for a seat assignment, your luggage, or Wi-Fi. You get 22 oversized leather seats, Starlink internet that's actually fast, complimentary snacks, drinks, hotel service, and meals on select departures. You walk into a hotel terminal, skip the TSA circus, and ride in comfort. That's it. No games. Vaughn Lane serves Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands, Nashville, Memphis, and Atlanta. Head to VaughnLane.com and enter promo code OTF26 for $20 off your first ride. That's Vaughn Lane, your private jet on wheels.
I hadn't really looked into Issa Torres defensively until Bobby's Vaughn Lane read. She had 2 errors in 54 games last year. That's an amazing number. Think about it. Texas Tech made 3 yesterday. She had 2 in 54 games.
3 yesterday, or you mean last week?
Texas, they made 3 yesterday. Hoka, Kirby, Campbell, and McGuire.
That's a different kind of error, but I get
it. Those were shank punts into the stands that flew over the cheerleaders' heads and hit an unsuspecting man and knocked his Diet Coke into his wife, and now his wife is mad at him. That's how bad those shanks were.
Well, before we get to our last question, I also need to tell everyone about Prize Picks. We're in the dog days of summer. It's not only heating up outside, but in the sports world as well. Basketball playoffs are red hot. Baseball's in full swing. There's a lot going on, and Prize Picks adds more fun to it. Now every possession matters, every at-bat matters. You're locked in from start to finish. You're not just watching anymore. You got a little juice in it. And the best part is it's so easy. You just pick more or less on player stats. You build your lineup, you submit it, and you're good to go. It takes maybe 60 seconds. And you can go across any sport as well. Basketball, baseball, hockey, golf, MMA, esports, whatever it may be, whatever's on it fits. And let's see here if I can't get my picks pulled up, but I'll tell you about them. We have Freddie Freeman to have more than half a hit plus run plus RBI. Freeman, he's been on fire lately. He's averaging 3 per game over his last 5 games. And we're also taking Mariners pitcher Brian Wu to have more than 4.5 strikeouts. He'll woo you. He's had 37 strikeouts his last 5 games, so he's on fire. We're trusting our gut. That's exactly what you do. You make your picks, you lock it in, and now every single moment means something. Prize Picks is available in all 50 states, including right here in the Lone Star State. So if you haven't jumped in yet, now's the time. Download the app. Use code HMA. Play $5 in lineups, and they're going to give you $50 in lineups instantly. Code HMA. 5 gets you 50. It's as simple as that. And as always, play smart, play responsibly, play Prize Picks. All right, we're going to close with this question here from King. King always has some good questions. Who will be our secret weapon this season?
Jermaine Bishop.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I believe that strongly. I mean, everybody's going to be talking about the size of the Texas receivers on the outside with Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo, and Emmett Mosley. And you're going to have a little jet that runs down the seam.
Yep.
From the slot.
Never commanding the best coverage guy either, really.
Shouldn't. You wouldn't think it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it.
Yep.
That's and I will add this. Raleek Brown out of the backfield in the passing game.
I agree.
He's got elite speed, guys, but and acceleration, similar to Jaden Blue. Not quite Jaden Blue acceleration. But he can make more people miss than Jaden Blue could.
Yeah.
And so if Sark can get him one-on-one, against some linebackers, he's going to make people miss. So I would go Jermaine Bishop 1, Raleigh Brown in the pass game 2.
Yeah. I would say, and if I had to go with one on defense, it's crazy. I'm going with Richard Wesley.
Wow.
Because who's going to step up and be the pass rusher opposite Colin Simmons or along with Colin Simmons? That's not Rasheem Biles, because he can really do it. Who's going to be that guy? This is a team that the older guys are knowns, but I think if there's a couple of freshmen, Bishop on offense, and maybe Cooper, but as far as a secret weapon and on defense, I'm kind of watching for Richard Wesley. I think the guy's got a little something that maybe Bishop does as well. By the way, hey, real quick, Nathaniel Loper asked us earlier, where do we sit with left guard position? Is it Seymour's to lose? I think, Bobby, that's really going to be up to Seymour, how quickly he picks up the system, scheme, everything that goes along with that, how quickly he gets into true football shape. Because if you don't go through spring practice, you're not going through a college strength and conditioning program, it's different. Gets back into that peak football shape, and how quickly he picks things up. I think it's almost up to him.
Let's see. Rocky P, thank you for your super chat. Says, last night was elite. Hate watching for me as a Mavs fan. What an embarrassment, and I appreciate it. It was tough for a lot of people across the state, no doubt about
it. I mean, look, Fox's play at the end, y'all know I played hoops a long time, but coached it a little bit. But Fox's play is going to be talked about the most. That's one of the worst basketball plays you'll see, just from a time and understanding standpoint. But when the Spurs took 8 threes in a row up 20 plus, I about lost it. I was like, what are we even doing here? Like, they didn't do anything. And then Mitch Johnson waiting till the run was 20-4 to call a timeout on the road in the Garden. Rick Barnes would have called a timeout before that, and he hates timeout. Okay,
Rick did not like using timeout.
Rick was probably calling for a timeout from the couch last night. They didn't do anything to win that game. I've said this before on the Spurs. I don't think the Spurs are going to start truly working to reach their ceiling potential until Dylan Harper takes over the ball and becomes the guy along with Wemby on this team. They had to take Castle off the ball after the second game of the series. He just turned it over too much, not natural in that position. They had to take him off the ball, and he needs to turn into what he could be off the ball and accept it. But this team, I think, will go to another level when Dylan Harper becomes the guy with the ball, and him and Wemby are the leaders of this franchise. That's my take on San Antonio.
By the way, just going back, we were just talking about surprises. I like Pat Page's. What about Smith Rogbo, Jerry?
Yeah. I mean, he looked quick coming off the edge in the spring showcase. The guy's got a lot of ability, as long as, and he still wears the knee brace.
Yeah,
I would love to see him when he doesn't have a knee brace on. That kid has a lot of BGO.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, some news that just came out. Some good news. Texas outfielder Anthony Pack Jr. has been named Baseball America National Freshman of the Year.
And deserved.
Yep, well deserved.
Well deserved. He, a lot of young. Last year, Volantis, I think, earned the same award. Did he not? Dylan Volantis, Freshman of the Year. Now Pack. I mean, Schloss has got he's got an ability and a staff that knows how to recruit guys. We talked to him yesterday, and the thing that he talked about briefly was about how going to Omaha does put you at some level of disadvantage in the portal when it comes to portal recruiting. But if you keep adding people like Volantis and Pack every year, you don't have to go to the portal as much. You're going there more to fix immediate holes as opposed to have the backbone or the spine of your team. So congrats to Anthony Pack. Well deserved.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Coffee and Football presented by Vaughn Lane. I want to thank them along with Prize Picks and Hayes City Store for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. Bobby, what you got for folks later?
Jerry and Jordan and Hank, I think, are going to do CJ. I don't know if CJ's joining you guys or not. Jerry, y'all are going to do a recruiting live today.
At some point, yeah.
At some point today, whenever Jerry gets up to Austin. He's coming up to Austin today because get ready for the big recruiting weekend, second recruiting weekend in a row for the Longhorns. That's coming up. Also expected to have some other news in between now and maybe this evening's live stream. So we'll be on top of that for you guys. Also, make sure you check us out over at ontexasfootball.com. Right now, I think I already read there were like 3 articles posted this morning. And there's the participation on the message board, Jerry. You and I have been doing this a long time.
Great.
Participation on the message board, really getting an elevated level of conversation over there about Texas. And I just think it's healthy and good and fun. And I appreciate you guys being a part of it and making it what it is. It's growing into what Jerry and I had hoped it would be whenever we started this thing. So anyways, on texasfootball.com right now, we have a special, just $3 for 3 months. That's not $3 a month, by the way. That is literally $1 a month for 3 months. So please come join us. It's a limited time offer only.
Okay, well, we hope you all have an outstanding day today. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.
Hook 'em horns.